topic, I prepare some small questions. So I will describe the situation, the scenario. Then you can just give a answer. What's your option?
Okay. Is it a quick question? The
Yeah,
20,
quick, yeah, 20 quick questions. Okay. So the first one, there is a wheat field. There's a wheat field.
Okay.
With wheat, and you will walk through it.
Okay.
You want to pick one wheel, just one.
Okay.
And maybe you want to pick the largest or the most beautiful, whatever.
Okay.
Is your criteria. But the thing is that you cannot walk back. You keep walking, no go back. And you can only pick one. How you will pick?
Here's what I would probably do. Okay, let's say I'm looking for the biggest one.
Okay.
That's what I want. I want to find
That's okay.
I want to find a big one.
Yeah, big one, the most beautiful one, whatever you like. Yeah.
I would probably walk 80% of the way and kind of just look at them. And then maybe in the last 5%, I'd find one that looked all right and then take.
So which means that you will walk the 50%, 80%.
Probably 85% of the way and not pick one.
Just
or maybe 80%.
Okay.
If one was like, whoa, that one's not bad.
Okay. So which means that you use 80% like samples.
Yeah.
To give you some sense about how the weight is big.
Yeah.
And use the remaining 20.
Yeah. And then I'd probably just find the first one that looked pretty nice and take that.
So which one? These two very different strategies.
No. After the 80%.
Oh, okay.
In the last 20, I'd be like, okay, that one isn't given.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay, but imagine if you find, let's say, a really big one in the first 80% parts.
Mm-hmm.
In the remaining 20, well, you always think about the biggest one, which you already give up. Will you keep thinking about it?
No.
You are not such kind of person.
I don't think I would. I mean, like, maybe if it was like really big, but if it was that big, I would have grabbed it.
Gotcha.
But I don't think the difference it makes is worth thinking about it.
Gotcha. Because anyway, you cannot go back and pick it.
Yeah, there's no. Yeah,
But sometimes in real life, a lot of time we feel regretful for something we already missed.
Yeah.
That's the biggest issue.
Yeah, I've learned that there's no point in thinking that way.
To feel regretful for the past.
Yeah, personally, there's nothing I can think of that I really regret.
Okay, nice.
In my life,
there's something
maybe I regret, but I wouldn't change. I wouldn't go back and change it.
Got you. There's nothing you want to go back to history and change.
Mm-mm.
I think that's really great. That's a very healthy mindset.
Yeah, because you're just asking for trouble if you start to entertain that. Because you can't go back and change it.
Then that's why people get into trouble.
Yeah,
thinking it's a loop. It's a deadlock.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Second question, and maybe you have heard it. So there is a running train on the track. Somehow the brake doesn't work.
Okay.
Maybe you have heard it.
The trolley problem?
Yeah. So if they do nothing, there are 5 people in front of the train. So they will kill 5. And here's a switch over here. If it switch, it will change the direction. Just one person.
Yeah.
So you will kill the one person. And you are very lucky to next to the switch.
Yeah.
You can push it and it will change direction. If you do nothing, it goes straight.
Yeah.
Well, you push it.
I think if you think about it, it's thinking about it like in a theoretical way.
Yeah, just in a theoretical way, of course.
It's really easy to be like, no, I wouldn't intervene. I don't want to be involved. But if I was really there thinking, I definitely would pull the lever. So I definitely would.
The assumption for you is that 5 life is more important than 1 life.
Yeah.
Yeah, the most tricky part of this question is that can we judge life by numbers.
Yeah. I think in that situation, less people would die. And I would just, and if I was the one person, I would probably understand if that person pulled the lever.
I understand. I get your point because, well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get your point. I get your point because it also case by case. But in this specific scenario, right? And a 5 is more.
It's more than one.
Yeah, I get your point.
What would you? Or maybe we don't have enough time to get deep.
For me, I think that I'm in kind of like middle. So for you, it's like certain or more than 50%.
I understand like thinking about it rationally.
But of course,
but in the moment, I think I totally would just pull the lever.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. And also, when something happens, you won't think about it. Your body will make the decision before you think about it.
Yeah.
For me, I think that I don't push. The reason is that I felt I don't have the right to judge.
Yeah.
I'm not the judger. But also, it's like 50%. I'm at that point.
Yeah. Like maybe I would pull the dang lever.
Yeah, who knows? And the next question. So there's a person, his wife gets some, disease.
Okay.
And this disease needs to get cured by a medicine. This medicine, let's say $2,000. And this man only have 1,000, let's say. That's everything he has. He gave all his money to the pharmacy, hospital, whatever, clinic. But it's still, he cannot get the medicine because it's $2,000 for sales. But actually the cost of the medicine made less than 1,000, let's say $200, whatever, right? The cost
to make it.
So the man decide to steal the medicine. He steal it. So is this man guilty or no?
I mean, I think it's justified.
What do you mean by justified?
I mean, I understand why he would like it makes sense. Like it's kind of a messed up situation. It's a totally messed up situation.
Yeah. So you will think he's not guilty.
If I was in his situation, I would also probably steal it if it was like it's gonna save her life.
Yeah.
But I would also be okay if I went to jail for it. Like I'd get it. Like I broke the rules.
I got you. So you think he shouldn't be guilty, but if you as a person, you are willing to pay for the price.
Yeah. I think, I mean, like literally he is guilty because he stole. But sometimes that's just life. Like it's not fair. Like you gotta do what you gotta do, and maybe there's consequences.
Yeah, I used to think rules is more important than other things. I used to think in this way. When I was in middle school, I have a classmate. She's a girl. She sit in front of me while in examination. I saw her cheating. I raise my hand and say, "Hey, professor, she's cheating."
Oh my.
I used to, for a long time, a person who think rules is rules.
Yeah.
But because of the love we talk about, I changed my mindset. I think humans is more important than rules. If for rules, sometimes I think will hurt humans. I think the rules may be not reasonable. Maybe what need to change is the rules.
Definitely.
Right? Like such situation, maybe we should ask why the society cannot provide a reasonable system.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Next question.
Yes.
Very easy, small questions. The next one is, okay, imagine you have a time machine. You can travel back to history. And the baby Hitler is next to you.
Would I kill baby Hitler?
Yep. Very easy, right? Dog and a cat.
Nah, I don't mess around with time travel like that. I wouldn't.
So you won't.
I wouldn't go back. And also, I don't think I have the stones to kill someone. Much less a baby.
I get your point. Even if you know the future, even if you know he may become the person who kill millions of people.
Yeah, but the thing is, you don't know the future. If he didn't exist, you don't know what would happen.
Maybe
more,
will be even more worse.
Yeah, maybe it could be 12. Yeah. Some other,
I get a point. So the point is that even if you thought you kill him, and he cannot, do what he does, but you cannot guarantee future will be better.
Exactly. Even if I had a time machine today, I wouldn't go back and change anything.
Gotcha. That's interesting. The next one.
I don't know. Maybe there's a few things.
Right, a few things. Let's say, there is a ancient Greek methodology. There is a person named Sisyphus. I think this is his name.
Sisyphus.
You know this person? So he's polished by the gods.
Yeah.
And he's pushing stone.
Yeah.
Onto the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
And then stone fall down.
Yeah.
And keep doing that.
Uh-huh.
So if our life, it's just like such a journey. It's nonsense. Because you do things and you fall down over and over again. Do you think life is still meaningful?
Yeah.
Why, if there's no results?
Well, the meaning is to push the rock.
Right. So it's like you graduate from elementary school, then you need to go for middle school. You graduate from middle school, then you go to then you need to do college, then you need to do work, then you need to have kids, then you need to feed them, and then you die. So if life is no results, right? It's no. Yeah.
Yeah. When you're on your deathbed, it's not like you get an award and you feel happy that you made it to the end. The good part was in between.
The journey.
It wasn't getting to the top of the mountain.
Is journey of the journey itself. I agree, but I think that is just because sometimes a lot of things in our life, we must have a deadline for it, or we have set a goal for it. So it's very easy to have such,
Yeah, but when
goal.
you reach that goal, doesn't the rod go all the way back down?
Yeah, that's why sometimes it can make you feel frustrated. There's no end.
But rolling the rock is fun. I like rolling the rock.
Yeah, I like your thoughts. Yeah, get enjoyment.
Yeah,
from
you can learn to learn. I mean, we're all rolling the rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most of us.
Everyone.
Some people probably just leave the rock at the bottom.
And it's also a way to rock. Everyone has a rock.
Yeah.
Right. It just depends on. Some people want to as high as possible.
Right.
Because everyone's mountain, the height is also different.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
It depends on how you want to deal with your rock. Next one. So sometimes you make dreams, right? Make dream.
Oh yeah. Yes.
So do you know you are in a dream when you dream?
No.
Same. But I know some friends who know they are in dream.
Right.
So the question is that dream and reality. If this is reality,
yeah.
Can you distinguish dream and reality?
I don't know.
For example,
that's a good point.
Do you think that can you prove now you are not in a dream?
No. I mean, okay, no. but I do know I'm not in a dream.
Why?
I just don't. Because, okay, in my dream, okay, yeah, I'm in a dream, but in my dream, I'm not in a dream. So am I in a dream? The dream me is not in a dream.
The dream. Oh, okay, I get your point. So to that Park in the dream, for him, that's real.
Yeah, he's not in a dream.
So from this perspective, even if you are dreaming now, for this is reality. Maybe that Parker in a high dimension woke up, but it's not you.
Right. Like reality only is a thing for the one experiencing it.
Makes sense.
So this isn't a dream because,
makes sense.
I'm experiencing it. It's real.
Makes sense.
Dream Parker isn't a dream, but him.
Yeah. For him, he's sleeping.
Yeah.
For you, this is real.
Yeah.
Which means that from this perspective, the game when you play, the NPC in this game, the game world for the NPC is real, right? Based on this assumption.
No.
Game, no.
Maybe from their point of view.
Yeah, I mean.
But for me, they're not real.
Yeah, but from their point of view, maybe they're real.
Yeah,
maybe.
Sure.
The next one is So the next one is that brain in a vat. So if imagine you put brain in a, let's say, in a vat.
Yeah, in a jar full of like juice.
Yeah, whatever.
And it's floating there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very vivid. And then you use all those cables in connect to it.
Yeah.
And give it like some steamers.
Okay.
And then the brain began stimulus.
Yeah.
Then the brain is active. It began to make a lot of imagination, whatever.
Yeah.
Then maybe the brain have some thoughts. He think or she think he's living a life. But actually, from your perspective, it's just brain in a vat.
Yeah.
Do you think that we also in such a situation?
I mean, the crazy thing is like that is actually exactly what our brain is.
Yes.
It's sitting in a jar.
Yes.
The jar is just our heads.
Right.
It's just receiving stimulus.
Right. And your body just is a container. It's just in this shape.
Yeah.
Right.
Like the images we see,
yep,
they're not actually like images in our eye.
Yeah.
Our eye is just sending stimulus to our brain, and our brain is just
right. And also the what your eyes saw is upside down.
Yeah, it flips it.
Yeah.
She's like, that's crazy.
Right.
It doesn't make
it is.
Like our fingers, this is only solid because our fingers are sending a sensation of touch to our brain.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Right. So how can you even think about it a little bit wider? How you know that everything you feel is really felt by this part rather than a brain?
You don't. That's the thing. I don't. It totally could be. I could totally be in a jar right now.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Or maybe you are playing a game, a VR game, or AR game, whatever.
Yeah.
And there are a player who plays it.
And I'm an NPC.
Well, you may be an NPC, or you may be the player operated by the player.
Yeah.
Right. The first side,
Or maybe you're the main character and I'm the NPC.
Who knows? When I was younger, like in elementary school.
Yeah.
I always have such feeling. I feel that
everyone's fake.
Yeah. That's how I feel exactly. But I gradually now I don't think in this way. The reason why I changed my mind is that I feel that I always get a lot of something beyond imagination, beyond my imagination from others. Then I feel that from this perspective, they are not NPC for me.
Yeah. Because
even if they are NPC, but they are something beyond my imagination, beyond my thoughts.
Yeah.
And then I think.
I get what you're saying, but sometimes I also think like sometimes in my dreams I have dreamt things beyond my conscious mind could ever do.
Because it makes sense because we have some hidden, it's just like surface, right? The iceberg float on the on the sea.
Yeah.
There are a lot of part behind it.
Yeah.
So we don't know. I don't know either. Next question. So you have a ship, or you have a car, whatever. Then you place a part of it. Then you gradually replace. Then you replace everything on the car or on the ship. Is still the same car?
It looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
But each individual piece
has been replaced.
I mean, no. I mean, yes and no.
Okay.
I mean, as a whole, it still looks the same. It still behaves the actual same. So the idea of the car, it's almost like none of that ever happened. But from like a physical level, if you look at like the actual like atoms that make it up, technically they're different. But to me, I would say it's the same car. Because I think of more of the car as a whole rather than the individual pieces that make up the car.
So it doesn't matter you replace everything on the car or just a little bit of the car, right? It doesn't matter to me.
As long as the end result,
the same.
To me, the car I perceive is exactly the same.
Okay.
And maybe even just a little bit changed. I still would see it as the same car.
Got you. Makes sense because you look at it in a whole rather than change, the components.
Yeah.
The next question: if trust is lost, can it be rebuilt? Can trust be rebuilt?
I think that's tough.
Why? Why it's tough to rebuild trust?
Because you never know if it'll be broken again. Because it can be broken.
Such worry about the future.
Yeah. There's an uncertainty added into the equation that might have not been there before.
But how about a stranger? It's even easy to build trust from scratch. It's also uncertainty, huh?
Yeah, I feel like strangers kind of have a universal trust. If you've never been wronged by a stranger in your life, why not trust them? I used to be very trusting of strangers to a fault because I just thought like, why I can trust my fellow man. And I would like leave stuff out in open areas and stuff.
Have you ever get into trouble because of such trust?
Yeah, I got a bunch of stuff stolen from my car.
Then have you changed your mind?
Yeah, now I have less trust in like, I guess like humanity in a way.
So it's not for a certain person, it's more like a general humanity.
Yeah, in a way, but you can also have it for people too.
Of course.
But I think now that has like affected the base level of trust I have for a stranger.
Makes sense. I think
which kind of sucks because like I want to trust people, but it's like some jerk ruined it for all of you guys.
I go on, like you want to drink this water, but I just add a little bit dirt in the water. You won't drink the water, even if I pick it out.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
I think that I think it's hard.
And it can be rebuilt, I think, but
it's not the same.
It takes time.
It takes time, right? You can purify the water, right? But
But you can never know. Is it really all the way gone?
Yeah, that's why most people just prefer to get a new bottle of water rather than this one. Next one is that Imagine if you grow up in a cave, everything you saw, it's not the same. It's like you have a projector on the screen. Everything you see is actually from the projector or the screen.
Yeah.
Suddenly one day, you go out of the cave, you saw the real things.
Yeah.
Right? You saw real cars, not a car in the screen.
Yeah.
Of course, you will feel threatened. So how to choose? Will you stay in the so-called real world or go back to the cave to watch the
Would I go back in?
Mhm.
I don't know. I would probably like freak out. Okay, it's kind of like the Matrix.
Yeah, actually, I have a question about this.
Okay.
About Matrix.
Sometimes I think like, could I stay in the Matrix if I knew?
Red pill, blue pill.
I don't know. I don't know.
50-50, huh?
I mean, it sounds cool to like break out of the Matrix and like.
It sounds cool, doesn't mean it's right. It's enjoyable, right?
Yeah. I mean, it would be so much easier and nicer
to stay in.
To stay in.
Makes sense.
And like, I guess it's like an ignorance is bliss thing. Like,
of course, ignorance.
I could just ignore all
the
that.
The more ignorance I feel, the more happy you are.
Yeah, but I think if I had it confirmed to me with 100% certainty.
But you have a red pill can make you forget the confirmation. Right?
I don't think
you don't want to forget. You can forget.
I guess you can forget it all.
Yeah, you take the red pill, you forget everything, you get up a new normal day.
Okay, right? Yeah, I guess and I don't know if I'd have that. You know, I don't want to be like Cypher, who like screwed him over. I think I like to think I would stay out.
Stay out, even if the reality can be really cruel, harsh.
Yeah.
Basically 50-50 because you are hesitant.
Yeah.
Which means it's 50-50.
I know, it's like part of me could be like, okay, I could just forget this ever happened and I could go
back
awesomely Matrix.
Yeah.
Or
recap and fighting with the machine.
With Morpheus. I don't know, Morpheus is pretty cool.
Yeah, but the war with robots, it's the possibility for you to win is so small, right?
True.
Yeah.
And what if,
right?
I hate to say it, what if they're in the Matrix within the Matrix?
It's possible. It's possible, right?
Did they ever talk about that?
Yeah, there's no ending.
Yeah.
No, one matrix.
Exactly.
Whatever. It's just like beginning, like Big Bang. What's that before Big Bang? Right? Okay, let's assume there is another Big Bang before Big Bang. Right? If humans are created by something, then what's that created that something? Where's the end?
Yeah.
The next question: if future can be completely predicted, do humans still have free will? If everything is already certain, it's just like a book. You don't read, you haven't read the last chapter.
Yeah.
But the last chapter already been written.
Yeah.
You still have so-called free will.
No.
So we are just like a puppy.
Like a puppy?
Yeah, I mean the puppy is controlled by someone.
Oh, a puppet.
Puppet. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think that like if you take like a scientific like surgical view of it, like it probably, if you rewinded the clock and started it all over again, we probably would still be right here. having this exact same conversation.
Maybe.
But I like to think that I have free will.
Which means that you prefer to think future is not determined.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you have free will, the future cannot be predicted.
Yeah.
Which means that tomorrow, what will happen to you shouldn't be written in the book.
Right. And yeah, like if you think that way, I feel like it just kind of like there's no benefit to you. In fact, I almost feel like it's like a negative effect on your life. Like it kind of like takes away meaning in a way of the moment.
Yeah.
So I just don't even entertain that.
But also that it can also reduce your pain. Sometimes when you lose something or you cannot get something, then you can comfort yourself. You can say, hey, that's no matter what I did, actually that thing still happened, which means that you can get kind of like comfort.
That's a good point.
Right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes, again, like a time machine, for people who has regrets, you will think so hard. I want to change the history. But if no matter what you do, what is what is. Maybe you won't feel so guilty.
Yeah.
Right. That's the point.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. So, the Pandora's box, right? Pandora's. You open the box out of your curiosity. So all the disease, all the bad things go out. So, is curiosity a good thing or no? Because humans do so many stupid things for curiosity. You want to climb to the tree for curiosity, right?
Yeah.
Not for some purpose.
Yeah, I mean, but where would we be without it?
Like animals.
We would just be like we'd be animals so.
Why not?
I mean, I guess maybe we'd all be a little bit happier if we were all still like animals.
I have a question very soon about this.
Yeah. But I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it can I don't think it's inherently bad. Like curiosity has led to bad things, but it's also led to good things.
So which means that your point is that you are willing to accept the price to have curiosity.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah, metrics, we already talked about that. And this question, and I mentioned that we will have this one. Two options. One is to become a happy pig, a dog, whatever.
Yeah.
Another one is a miserable philosopher.
This is just like the red or blue pills.
Well, it's not exactly the same.
Yeah,
but it's a little bit similar, right? Happy pig, miserable, or philosophy, because you are so thoughtful, right? You are not ignorant. Which one?
I honestly think I would be the pig.
Similarly.
Because here's the difference with the matrix question. It isn't a prerequisite that you'll be miserable. In fact, you could probably find some inner joy in staying, or inner like vindication in staying outside of the matrix. But if you know that you'll have the philosopher one, you'll have knowledge, but it will guaranteed make you miserable, then what's the point?
Curiosity. Maybe because you know so much.
Yeah.
For example, there are so many people dying even at this moment at some place in the world. It won't trouble you too much because it's like a faraway story for you.
Yeah.
But if you really have the knowledge about every details, you will be painful. That's similar. A lot of things you don't feel troubled. It's not because it doesn't exist. It's just you are ignorant and didn't think about it.
Yeah.
I guess that is that question. We assume the philosophy. knows so much. That's why he's miserable.
Yeah,
maybe.
But in a way, I would kind of hope that some people would choose to be the miserable philosopher, because I feel like there is benefit in having that knowledge, because you can maybe do something to
of course,
to help.
That's also human history.
Yeah.
We are kind of like, well, human history kind of like, on one hand, is pushed forward by such kind of people, but also it's also such kind of people bring disasters to normal people. Most of the people just want to become a happy pig.
Yeah.
Right. And some people, want to push the world in a way they think is correct. Right. But sometimes it is, sometimes maybe not.
Right.
Right. We're almost here. Next question is that, do you think that the world, well, it's a little bit similar like what you mentioned. Is this world is a eternal repetition, which means it's like a circle, this universe happened, then it's end, right? Because the world, the whole world is expanding now.
Yeah.
Then it will be cool down, and it will end.
And it will collapse and
end. And what if do you think that it may be repetition?
Yeah.
And then it's Big Bang, then the whole universe, then it's cool down. This
I actually do.
So it means that we have this conversation now, but maybe 1 billion years ago, the same thing happened.
Yeah.
10 billion years ago, it still happened. And forward, it will again.
Yeah. I do think so.
But if in this way, it means that everything is already happened before.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's go back to fixed, predicted.
Yeah.
It's like kind of contradict, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But it I feel like there's a difference in like thinking it happened and believing it is, like, knowing it happened versus believing it's going to happen. So yeah, it's kind of cool to think that we had this conversation 1 billion years ago, but it won't change the way I think about the conversation. It won't change my value just because I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. And it won't change the way I live the rest of my life. But it is cool to think wouldn't it be cool if there's a 1 billion-year-old me?
Yeah, just it's like a class. Yeah. Last year we have this computer science class. Next year later we have this again.
Yeah.
You and kind of 10 years later, we still at the same time 5 p.m. at what happened again. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. It'd be pretty cool if it did.
Last question. 2 options.
Okay.
The first option is that you can become the most powerful person in the world, whatever, but there is a sword on top of your head. It can fall down at any time, but you can become the king of the world. Another option is that, well, there's no such sword hand on top of your head, but you're just the average person. Which one you choose?
I would not want the sword.
Just become an average person, huh?
Yeah, because I would not be able to stop thinking about it. I feel like that's just, the anxiety would be too much.
Yeah, because I assume that for the more successful you are, of course, you enjoy a lot of things. You have your private airplane, you enjoy big house, whatever. But I assume that the sword is just like the pressure on you is also big. Yeah. I don't know.
But or you have some secret that if it ever got out.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that, but in real life, sometimes we actually are pursued in this direction.
Yeah.
Right. We want to more and more and take more and more pressure, more and more anxiety. That's what we are doing actually in real life.
Yeah, we're setting ourselves up higher so we can fall longer.
Yeah.
But maybe being king of the world isn't that cool anyway.
I don't know.
Maybe.
2 people who never become that.
Yeah.
How can we imagine that, right? right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like we have never. It's just like two teenagers never drive and talk about how you can drive, right?
Yeah, but I can imagine it feels pretty cool to drive.
Yeah, but if it would be much better if you don't have such sport or
That's true.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that we talked pretty much of all those conversations, and yeah, well, thank you for your time, and it's really interesting conversation.
Yeah, it's always great talking to you.
Okay, cool. Let's